Hi, I just like to share my few thoughts and reviews from from the other videos that I've done, and probably just clarify some of the things those who some of our followers or those who are new to my channel of the reviews of reviewing my videos. So as well as to keep you info of of um of what have been happening to me. Well, the thing is that I like to say a lot of things or like to shout or say things. Unfortunately, because of my because in England it's not a place where you can freely talk or say things, particularly in my position where I've been sectioned um into mental capacity, and about probably 5 or 6 years ago. I lost count because it's quite debilitating. And so when I came out from Hunter's Moor, which is the was a detention centre for disabled people who had families who did not want to care for them, or those who had spoken out and appealed their rights, and certain counties did not support them. There was or charities, disabled charities, there was put and was sectioned to to of what was socially appropriate to what a disabled should think or speak or behave. So that's what happened to me, which I already explained that in previous videos. But of course, with YouTube now, it's no longer a free speech area, which it never was in the beginning anyway, because it was always supported by Google. Subconsciously, it was anybody who like me who knew about internet and um, who were millennials and then at gens knew about the technology that 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 with corporates, the corporates are those who, of the big corporates or capitalism. Capitalists are supported by small by 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 governance, or supported by governance, and their idea is not everybody has a voice, only a certain amount of class or a certain position in society. So there's not really such thing as free speech from where country you came from, whether you're a communist country or a capitalist country. They're almost the same. So that's one of the reasons why I strongly believe in God and why I'm still alive today, and when in personal relationship with God. It's not because from church, or it's my own personal heart, my own personal relationship, and it's something that I didn't actually choose. It was kind of chosen for me in some ways, um, from my higher self, before I was born in this world. But until then, I just have to make the most of the resources I have, make the most of the truth I have, and a thing. Um, so one of the references of my videos of when I said about I can't mention about certain people names because I live in a care facility, because after when I was in Birmingham, in um in Brook but in Birmingham, in um detained in Birmingham, I um I had no choice but to 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 remain there and die, or 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 Sept, the only place that was the private owners of the place in that runs the private care facility in Oxford, which in Didcot. So so it was not very supporting, and unfortunately, because I was because I put myself out there, which I already knew the risk, I've known um um and being in a community circle with families and those who has support the my handlers who 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 took me in. I don't have a voice. I do not have a voice. In some ways, I'm like Britney Spears, where I always had someone who kind of tried to handle me in some way. So I cannot speak. So for me, every day, my whole entire life, I had always had to risk my life to speak for myself and others. So in some ways, I've always knew the sacrifice of speaking out. So it's not just YouTube. So I haven't really put anything out except for put some art, my singing. That's the only thing I have done. And there's probably maybe a time that maybe once I move out from I'll let go from um and have my own space, then I'll be able to speak out. But until then, I can't exactly do it on this platform. I'll have to make my own platform, which I cannot tell because of the fact that the people who who is my carers of the manager who in charge of everything. They claim to be my advocate, my my care worker, everything. And anybody in who's a social worker, they do not represent me because my handlers represent themselves, and so then claim that that they represent me, which they do not. So it's kind of, those who read Charles Dickens will understand that I'm in a Dickens situation where 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 sadly it's 2021, and things have not changed in disability equality, fortunately. um it's this is why people like England, because it's old and traditions, but just because a place is old and traditions doesn't mean it's always good. Unfortunately, no matter what government that was run, they're all corrupt in some way. But those who spiritually were waking will understand what I'm saying. Is that the system has never been supporting people like me anyway, and if they did, it was within their own agenda, and also because God softened their heart in some ways. But so I do not have anybody. I've done everything I could before I was um sectioned by social services in Oxford Social Services and Headway, the charity who destroyed me, who do not believe in equality or free speech for disabled people who have acquired brain injury. And I said, so so I'm not saying such people work in services are bad, but I'm just saying that Oxford is a very corrupt town, and they're very small minded, and they will do any out of their way to keep people like me to shut their mouths. So in some ways, I'm like Little Mermaid, where I do not have a voice. I came to this world with no voice, and so my entire life I had to find ways to speak in some way. but I don't have any community that support me or loves me or understand me or willing to really put their life in the line, their jobs, their security, everything, their freedom. It's very sad though. Um, so um, and it's right to concern their life, but there's some things that's bigger perspective. So, and it's very hard for me to even say the things I want to say because I can't say them on this camp on YouTube. I cannot say legally certain things because things will be even worse for me. Yes, at the moment I um um can walk on my own, but the thing is though I cannot. Whatever I do, do the handlers or my care providers do not want me to have freedom or if the thing because they support they corrupt themselves. I cannot say much, but as I said, so anybody who has fight against social equality in Oxford or in the UK will understand what I'm saying. But unfortunately, as I said, not enough people are strong enough or brave enough to speak out. Or they be in the same boat like me, put as insane, antisocial, personality disorder, you name it. All those things. Which is it's repeated history. Throughout history there's loads of people who fought for human rights, who had new ideas, was put in silence, put because it will cast out communities, including Jesus. So I'm not alone in that department. But it's a very lonely world where you cannot really trust anyone. And every time you ask for help, people could even shut you down. Or because of the fact that they cannot not see exactly what you see. It's a very comfortable situation. I'm not classist, but I do know that a lot of people, even my own, the people who I know personally, who is middle class or upper class families, who have children who or they have hidden disabilities, and they have success in life, but yet when it comes to they did, when they was able to support their own families with for their own quality, but when it comes to those outside their family, it's a different story, and it is a very difficult thing. So it's very hard. I've, 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 I haven't decided to put any platforms because of alternative platforms because I just feel spiritually that pretty much all of them will bury someone like me to speak up and things. But myself, I probably would, but I would not tell anybody on this platform because as I said, because of the handlers I have, social services will probably watch this and and including my my handlers. So who 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 somewhat legally adopt me, foster me to be in this facility. So I cannot uh, progress in any form. There's things that I like to do in my own room, but I know that it's very difficult. I put on weight. There's a lot of things I cannot do, and that's been way before lockdown, global lockdown. So, 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 and 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 it's very hard, very isolating. And I hate that people say, "Oh, everybody in the same boat." That's not true. Even if it's like, for example, like with meeting someone homeless, and you tell them another homeless person they're in the same boat, they say yes and no, because is different. Everybody has a different story, a different aspect, a different perspective, but there has one in common. There was homeless. It's like, for example, like I had, like was moved to another across another house, because my handlers, they own two houses that used to be their own homes, and so when they climbed the social ladder, they rented this place because it makes sense, makes money to to live off. The government pays a huge amount of money for anybody who takes anybody he's in. It's kind of corrupt in the social care system in 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 the UK, where if you if you have no family support you, so therefore there's someone that will take you in, and it may not be in their own interests for you, but their own interests for themselves. Human exploitation. That's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, disabled people or families from complex needs families are exploited every day, and nobody speaks out of it. And people like me who do speak out, they put they forced to to legally shut their mouths. And there are people that do wish they was brave enough and strong enough, but they know they will lose their jobs, to lose everything. So there's not much nobody can do now. People come in this country and they expect things to be different, only to realise that maybe they was better off come back to other country where they realise how corrupt is and stuff. There are some good counties in the UK that 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 do fight back, but that's very small. Which I talked about before. I was before had no choice but to accept someone who I knew I should have said, but I hadn't had no choice. I had no choice because that's what society has put me in, and my family and the community has put me in. So I have no community. I have no one who can strong enough to fight back for me. God God will put me at God God has told me that I will come out, but it's just unfortunately, I know we know that it be in His own supernatural way, those who believe in God, and but unfortunately, unfortunately, um, I have no hope for human beings to help me, because they love themselves, and they do not. They love themselves, and they fear the fear what society thinks of them. So so have no or willing to have to change their perspective of what society has or thinks, or look into their own darkness and their imperfections, that maybe there was wrong. I have a sibling, and she can't see that maybe the things that she done is wrong. So I have to be on my own. Um, there are some people who wish they could help, but they have their own battles to fight. So I pretty much, um, even if I do move from here, I do have I understand that it's going to be a similar aspect, but 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 um but hopefully be a bit less restraints in where I am. Things is not really much difference between where I was in the detention centre in Birmingham, Christchurch Hospital. Is not much difference. The only difference is I'm not desectioned a lot, and I don't need, and I don't have a medical. I don't interact with a medical court, which is really corrupt as well. Even if you did win, you're also already look you won because the fact that you had to say exactly what they wanted you to say, even if they're wrong. You have to have someone with medical backgrounds, medical law, everything. I really wanted to study law here, but unfortunately, that I have no one to support me to go in any form of any further education, because as I said, I'm not able to write. So therefore, and then when I go to class, I have to I have to have the further education is forced for people for me to not progress. I have met a lot of people who in the UK who have hidden disabilities, and they end up forced to quit because of the fact that there's lack of support. They're forced. It's completely rigged. The whole system is rigged. Those who truly spiritually open and believe in God would know this. Well, how the world is corrupt. I those who follow KJ, the scariest movie ever, will understand that, and there's other platforms I have supported has mentioned this. Um, um, Archive. Unfortunately, they most of them now left YouTube and put on other platforms or set their own sites. So, and they know that what they've done will that they will probably be like me, end up being incarcerated in some way. And I know they're strong enough to accept their destiny of what of making a better life for others. But as I said, it's a difficult circle. Even though it means that they're cast out from their families and society make fun of them and call them conspiracy. They say take your meds or go and chill out. You too much light and everything. You know, those who those who spiritually wake can understand that if you're Christian or a New Asia or from other religious background, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. That it's run by Satan, and and the system is completely rigged. And it's important, and even church communities are corrupt because they worship the system, and they don't understand the system is run by Satan himself. And those who truly know God, and what I mean by God, when I was saying previous to my previous video, when I said I believe in God as man and as woman, I'm not saying the Baphomet. No, I'm talking about that, like in nature. Nature has mentioned in the past, has given us symbols in the past, and if you look in history beyond time, and I believe even probably in the Bible there was one time mention that God was represent one, was was a mother and a father. Because remember, you know, you cannot have a child unless you're a man or woman, or plants, insects. There is always two sex to produce. So therefore, the Creator has given each symbol that there has always been two parents, always, always. So therefore, God is had two thrones, a woman and God has a wife, so it's two seats. Seats, and and those who like me who have a spiritual memory bank understand before they came to earth, understand that God represents one union of people who represent in one, what, as one. So they it's not, they're not represent the self. They, what light is represent as one. And Satan chose to be a fallen angel because he did not want to represent as one. He wanted to represent himself. And who those fallen angels who joined, they they left, and so basically they chose to be this, they 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 chose to rule this earth. And unfortunately, even the Bible, even all the religious books has been altered in some way because of political correctness, and and in some ways, of course I believe in the Book of Mormon is not altered, you know, but but um but but if you want to really have the Bible, you have to learn learn the Jewish scrolls, and even that's been altered because it fit in a political agenda or the challenges they couldn't believe, so they had to alter it for man's ego. Those who truly spiritually awakened knows that truth is something that will take away your one's ego. I was born with a spiritual gift as being spiritual, so of spiritual truth. So therefore, I didn't really, I had no chance. Even if my parents was rich or wealthy, I would still have no chance in this world because I know who I am. I I have too much light in me. I have times when God has sent me to reach someone, and I can't stand it because the fact that I just got too much light. They see my aura and like, oh my goodness, you got too much light. Be grounded. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I was like, this is why I'm alone. It's because I just got too much truth, so people can't deal with it. And with me, I always have to face the darkness as well as the light of life. And and it's difficult for me, you know, being a crystal rainbow child, as a child of light, a child of God. But so my future videos, it's gonna be pretty much, it's probably maybe share about some of my artwork, maybe, and even then, or my music. But I still would support other channels who can freely speak compared to me, which is sad because I started this video because I had two people who were disabled activists online, uh, and and which are no longer, they have their own different paths now, and they suggest me to go on YouTube. They said it will open doors for me, but it hasn't really. Instead of closing doors, it because I'm too much of a truther. I'm just too much of a light warrior. I just, you know, but until then, I just have to like use my use the Holy Spirit to guide me, my and my guardian angels to guide me, and use as well as use my spiritual instincts. So but yeah, but I'm looking forward. Hopefully, when I have an opportunity to move out from my handlers, the people who took me um, in that I no longer be free from them. And so I'll be able to 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 probably get a camera or um I'd be able to maybe even probably might even probably like set a documentary or sort. I don't know, you know, as a true activist do, but unfortunately, you can't right now. It's just there's never a good time to share light and truth ever. It's always dangerous, even the times of illusion or peace. But yeah, I still believe I still feel I don't belong in anywhere, and I probably will always feel this way until 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 I'm able to be in a community where where I be in a live in a different community where they where they do not support the world systems, um a, a spiritual community where we're allowed to be free who I am, and not made to feel disabled anymore. Disability will not be issue to me. Until then, I have to just deal with the plate I got. So so but I do believe that everybody can still make a difference in change, even if it means just encouraging people that they're not alone. That's better than nothing. And and don't believe the lies that people tell you. That you can't be heroic throughout time since Eve she ate the apple. She was being heroic. God just gave them a test. Adam and Eve a test to choose decision. Of course, it's not probably the perfect way. Maybe they could have asked God to say, "Hey, hey, Satan was decided to be in form of a snake to to eat this apple, but so it was meant. If Adam and Eve didn't take to make the decision, we wouldn't. They would be forever mortals. So you and I, everybody wouldn't not be here. Because deep inside they knew, Eve knew that that the decision that the biggest decision. So because we all all of us as human beings was meant to be born her earth to discover light and darkness, and what and what and what to choose. So, and every religion would tell you that everybody has to choose light and darkness. If you study Wicca, you would understand that it's stuff. For me, I stick being a member of Church of Jesus Christ, because that's the only church I know that actually got the whole truth. Unfortunately, of course, mankind alters truth, and there's corruption everywhere. And those who believe in Jesus and read his words, warned that mankind, because of mankind's weakness and influence of darkness, that they will try to block up the light. So I'm not saying because there's always, I don't like most general Christians. They always believe, like, well, that what's the move? That there's never going to ever be any darkness. There's always going to be darkness, no matter what planet or universe you are in. There's always going to be a battle with light and darkness. It's just, unfortunately, is just how it is. Basically, there's always going to be a new villain. If you look in Marvel comics, and those who spiritual people, spiritual gifted people will tell you this the same thing as I do. I just got a bit more compared to others. I'm not offended by the other people who dropped my channel because they offended about, but I don't have exactly the same belief in them. That's fair enough. And I respect free choices, but this is my journey, and I will share when I'm spiritually inspired to share. And I do try to meditate a lot and pray a lot, and followed by the Holy Spirit and my angels to approve in what I do. But as I said, this is myself, so of self. So yeah. So 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 yes, I will probably be in crisis a lot in my life, but I suppose everybody is in crisis in some ways. But I will try to keep Christ centered, especially the new political waves that's coming in in UK, in Europe. It's not just the States that's a dark place. It's pretty much the whole world is in a dark place. But there's going to be a lot of light coming in in some ways. It's just, fortunately, like I said, a lot of truth barriers, like myself, like people like Mark Bieski and uh, KJ and other people, we have to be like smart enough where we can talk and where we can't, and pretty much we can't even share some of the people in their intimate circles, because they cannot handle all the truth all at once. And who doesn't, but that's how it is. I don't really fit in any circle, to be honest with you. I'm kind of an outsider, and it's probably a good thing, because it means that, you know and I wouldn't want anybody to think like me, anything, because, but I do like, but, but I prefer to be with people who are allowed to freely believe who they want to be, and it is. So, so, because life would be very boring, and who wants to be forced to think and believe and do Even Jesus didn't teach of being people to be the same, but so yeah, there's nothing really else I think I could say. Um um I might probably do a video and probably explain other stuff, but I just at the moment I feel this is might be my last video blog really on YouTube, unless some things change where I can share some things, but as I said, it is not possible. So, but I really appreciate those who support me. Um, I and I know I know my voice is not perfect in my music ability, but I do the best I can, and 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 you know I probably would um you know I have been thinking about in the past to probably um start doing of doing some video tutorials of art, but or video blog myself with my artwork, but at the moment I just don't feel I'm in a safe place to do that. The only thing I can do right now is not. I just don't feel I have the right equipment and to do that. So I just kind of like so I just basically just do is just probably share my music and maybe even probably upload some of my artwork on 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 my music video. So so but I haven't really figured out yet at the moment because there's a lot of stuff going on which I can't really share about, but which is it's a shame really. But but yeah, um so that's it for now. Uh, thank you for supporting my channel, and I will um um and I hope if when I do other platforms that you hope those who generally follow me are not against me. I hope you will follow me on another platform if will find me in another platform when the time is right for me to do so. Until then, I just gonna just do my artwork and support other um um channels. So that's what I can say really. Um um Thank you, and I hope you continue following me with my upload videos, previous upload videos, and passing stories for uh, others as well. Maybe I'm cool if anybody wants to upload and put it in their channel. I would suggest to them to probably um archive them so that YouTube might not delete them. So and put it on other platforms if they want to. So I'm fine with that, particularly my songs, as long as you let know who it is by. So upload my song videos, so because I know God wants me to put my songs, even though I'm not a perfect singer because of a lot of stuff going on, but I am kind of working on my music abilities and everything. So I always try to build myself, even though I have a lot of people who block my potential in every aspect in some way, subconsciously or consciously has. So, but until then, I just kind of just do my stuff, do what I can, and celebrate the little freedoms I do have, even though I'm not, even though deep down inside I don't feel truly free, because I feel a lot of people want to control me or suppress me. I can't even go online church because regularly because 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 of the fact that there's a lot of suppression going on. But I'm cool that there's some people that sees what I see and believes in me. And anyway, I was repeating myself anyway. I better go. Thank you all, um, and hope you support my channel. Continue. If not, I understand. Thanks. Bye.